you're going.
Okay. So, on today's episode of Money Talks with Dylan Zimmerly, we have a guest here today. This is my sister, Riley. Riley Zimmerly. Hi, Riley.
Hi, Dylan.
Thanks for being on here with us. So, Riley, how old are you?
I'm 17.
Okay, so Riley is 17 years old, and you're in high school still?
Yes.
What high school do you go to?
Southern High School.
Okay. So, have you ever taken any classes about money at Southern High School?
No.
Have you taken any classes about money in any schools?
Yes.
What did you take?
I took, what is it called? I think it was just called finance.
Do you remember anything from it?
I remember a few things. But
Okay. That's okay.
Yeah.
Do you have a debit card?
I do not.
You don't have one yet?
No.
Do you plan on getting one?
I do.
And when would that be?
Probably from a month or so.
Okay. So there are a lot of things that are associated with finance. And one of those many things is questions. And those questions usually are focused on goals or focused on little pockets of information that you may not understand and stuff like that. Oh, that chair's being a little squeaky. So, like an example, do you know what credit is?
Yes.
What's credit?
Credit is taken from when you use like a credit card and like a debit card and stuff like that, and it's like calculated.
And do you know what it means?
No. I can't remember.
That's okay. So essentially what a credit card is you have a card and your card has a limit. And when you swipe your card, let's say you charge it for $155. The account that card's linked to will have $155 taken out of it. And you have to pay that $155 off by your bill date the next month, or else you'll be charged interest on it and you'll have to pay more for it than you. So let's say if it's $155, if you don't pay it off, the next month it might be $162. And that's more than you paid for.
Yeah.
Yeah. And essentially the quicker you pay your stuff off with your credit card, the higher your credit score will be, because your credit score essentially is a number that represents your credibility for paying a loan back. And the higher your credit score is, the more likely a bank or a business will give you a loan, because they'll know that you're credible for giving your money back, for paying it off. And that's what you want, right?
Yeah.
You want to be, because if you have really good credit, you could get a house that's really nice, and somebody who has the same amount of money as you may not have the same credit score, and they couldn't get that house because their credit wasn't as good.
Yeah.
Which is crazy. But you don't know about that type of stuff because they never taught you in your school.
I don't remember.
But yeah, exactly. They don't like really teach it to you. They just kind of tell it to you. It's different to be taught than to be told.
Yeah.
But did you know? I'm gonna tell you a little fun fact. So 1 in 5 millennials. So 1 in 5 people who are a little bit older than me and younger than most people our age, is parents. That group of people, 1 in 5, so 20% of them, claim that they will die with credit card debt or some form of debt that they will never be able to pay off.
That's awful.
Yes.
Who does that go to? Their kids?
Your debt does go to whoever is in your estate. So your heirs.
That's awful.
Yes, it is. And see, you got to be able to ask questions like, exactly, that was a perfect question. Who does that go to? You. When you get married, fun fact, let's say you and our other guest Seth were to get married. If Seth has debts, when you get married, they become your debts as well. They're not individualized.
So my spouse shares my debts?
Yes.
I'm so sorry, Seth.
Exactly, and it's just things like that. Like,
that's awful.
There's an example of a huge mishap where questions should have been asked and they weren't, and it cost a lot of people a lot of money. So, in late February, This was back in, I believe, 2018. Interactive Brokers Group Incorporated revealed in a lengthy regulatory filing that it might lose as much as $59 million from loans it made that were backed by essentially worthless collateral. So what that means is they were giving out loans that weren't going to get paid off because there was no collateral to be paid back. So essentially they were giving out loans to whoever or whatever, and nobody asked a question. So typically the question should be asked by us, the people that use the banks, but in this case, these people lost $59 million because they didn't ask the question of, well, where's the money coming from?
Yeah, it's like...
And it cost them $59 million.
Yeah, it's like we're just giving out free money.
Yeah, 59 Bugattis later.
Bugattis.
And they are unable to explain themselves because it was all backed by worthless collateral. And it's just silly stuff like that that costs so much money. Like, do you think that you should be able to learn about these things that I'm telling you about?
Yes.
I think so too.
Yeah, I feel like they should start teaching us a little bit younger than just high school. I mean, I barely know how to write a check.
Exactly. That's a good question. How do you write a check? And you could search on Google and it'll teach you how to write a check.
Yeah.
But yet, there's not a class in school that's going to teach you how to do all the things that you have to Google search.
Yeah.
And people our age are left to rely on the internet in order to figure out anything because nobody knows how to do anything.
Like, I don't know how to pay my taxes.
Exactly. How do I pay taxes? Google search it.
Yeah, they're just telling us to Google it at this point. It's kind of sad.
Yet nobody's teaching you how to do it, so you don't have to ask. Everybody's just giving the camel water. They're not leading it to where the water comes from.
Yeah.
They're kind of making you rely on the internet or somebody else.
Yeah.
It's kind of crazy. But that's all I have for you today, and that's all I have for you today. But this is the final video of the 3-part series. I really appreciate the time. Sadie is coming here as a special guest, and she wanted to say hi to the camera. Hello, Sadie.
Hello, Sadie girl.
Thank you, Riley. I really appreciate you coming in and talking.
Thank you so much for having me.
No problem. And that's a wrap.